I got into opera by attending a performance of, well, a number of performances over a week at Opera Australia in 1984. One of my dearest friends from high school, Stuart Skelton, his father, Anson Austin, was a principal tenor for the Australian Opera at the time. And I did a week of work experience, and that week of work experience was at the Australian Opera. And I saw Aida and Fiddler on the Roof and Dialogues of the Carmelites. Carmelites, interesting, was the one of the three that really sort of just grabbed me by the throat and threw me around, and then through a circuitous route ended up finding my way back to it. So John Vickers and James King, and then Ben Heppner. And now that I'm here and I've been in it for some time, those three are still titans for me. I went to university and studied other things for some time, but it got to the point where I came to the realization that I really wanted to sing. And by that stage, it was becoming clear that other people whose opinions I had only any reason to respect thought that maybe that's what I should be concentrating on. So I did. And that's what brought me eventually to CCM. And then from CCM through San Francisco, the Merola program, which is why we're here, and the Adler Fellowship, onto the career that I've had, I guess, since 1998, just after the year after I left my second year of Adler Fellowship. Well, Piquilla was fun. I mean, Pericole was a lot of fun to play. I was playing, Gilles Grove was La Pericole, and it was a terrific. I mean, the whole summer was something that nothing can prepare you for. I mean, I've done a master's degree here at CCM, and there's nothing that can quite compare you for how intense the summer at Merola is, but not intense in a way that it's an intense in a way that uplifts you rather than an intense in a way that lays you flat. And some of my dearest friends in the business I made in that summer. It's an incredible completing of a circle, because I graduated from here in 1995 and went straight into the Merola program that very summer, and then into the Adler Fellowship for the following 2 years. And my voice teacher then was Professor Thomas Barrisel. And when I arrived here in August of 2021 as a new voice professor, it was Tom's studio I was taking over because Tom retired. So it had occurred to me that we met each other 30 years ago. And to be in the room that I took voice lessons from Tom in now. This is the room that I took my voice lessons in from Professor Barrisel, from Tom, when I was here. And when I started here in August of 2021, this is the room that I took over. Yes, I would be very, very, very keen to go and spend pretty much every early summer at an opera festival in the Bahamas. The one doesn't exist, so I need to go and establish one. Late May, early June in the Bahamas would be a really nice part of the world to do an opera festival. Apart from all of the well-established opera houses, no, I don't think so. I think I've sung everywhere I could possibly have hoped to have sung. French, German, Italian, Spanish, and a little Icelandic. by living there long enough and refusing to speak English in opera houses where English wasn't the native language. And it didn't matter how many mistakes I made, and you do make some fairly glorious clangers, to be honest with you. We do owe it. It entered the common parlance because it's actually a line from a movie called The Castle, and there is a lovely line that happens a lot in the movie, and the line is, "Tell him he's dreaming," which is basically, nah, think again. That's that. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dad, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy this thing for that's going to. He wants $400 for it. Tell him he's dreaming. There's something about that I quite like, because I suspect that the character in the movie who says that, if you said to him, "There's this brand, we've just found this thing and it's worth $85 million and the guy wants $25 for it," he'd still say, "Tell him he's dreaming," and try and haggle it down to 15. I don't know, but I think I'm going to go with, tell him he's dreaming. The Grammy was really interesting. I mean, that's obviously for us in the recording. When you're making a recording, that you do hope that somewhere along the line a Grammy pops up. That would be quite special. But to be even nominated for a Grammy in that sort of thing it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not so old as to be jaded enough to think that's not cool. I think that's one of the things that opera does really, really well at its best, is it takes the audience by the hand. Like, for instance, let's use Grimes as the example. When Grimes goes and Balstrode's company says, sail out till you lose sight of land, and then sink the boat till you hear sink her. And he goodbye, Peter, and then he goes. I think you've got to take that 2,000 or 3,000 people you've got in the room with you by the hand and walk them. As much as they don't want to go, you need to walk them to the edge of that abyss. And they need to look into that abyss with you. And then you need to force them to watch you jump. And I think that's the compelling nature of the theatre. And if you can find that in any given performance, even if it's not a fresh approach, but if you can find it and it's new for you in that moment, in that performance, then I think you've done your best to bring the audience along with you as the storyteller. For me, that's more interesting. I think long term, it's more interesting than finding a new approach to it. Well, now that I am a professor of voice and have an opera department to take care of, my favourite thing to do is to be here in Cincinnati with my students and my colleagues. Apart from that, when I'm not doing either of those things, which is very rarely, when I'm not doing either of those things, I like to be at home with my wife in Florida, and I like doing a really, really good slow-cooked pork rib with jalapeno cornbread, homemade coleslaw, potato salad. I like that. And I like to sit after all that's done and all of our friends, our next door neighbours, and they've all gone home for the night. I can sit there with a glass of aged rum with an ice cube in it and a Cuban cigar and just watch the world go by occasionally. I don't mind that.